call to order the October 25th Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting. If you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, Sherry.
Okay. Sherry Butler. Oh, Sherry Butler. Okay. Kyler Cox.
Here.
Christopher Gallica.
Here.
Ed Heil.
Here.
Ashley Pasquale. Here. Todd Taylor. Scott Welty.
Here.
Natalie Strader. Here. And Councilmember Michelle Lynn. Here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And right now is our call to the public, and seeing we have nobody tonight, I guess we can move on to approval of the minutes, the September 27th meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the September 27th meeting minutes.
All right.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right. With that, communications announcements and staff report. Mr. Keene.
Thank you. The Recreation Youth Talent Show will be held on October 28th under the London Bridge. This Saturday, October 30th, the pool will have limited amenities available due to a staff shortage. A new event called Boo Bash is scheduled in the pool area on Halloween night from 4 to 7 p.m. Includes a swim-in movie of Transylvania 3, treats, a bounce house, a costume parade, and more activities. The pool is scheduled for its annual maintenance on November 28th and will reopen on Monday, December 13th. The pool will also be closed on November 11th in observance with Veterans Day and on November 25th and 26th in observance of Thanksgiving. We do have a lifeguard training class that is scheduled for November 19th, 20th, and 21st. Currently, we have 13 individuals in that class, so that will hopefully fill some of the needs that we have there in the lifeguard shortage. There's a blood drive that began today and is scheduled through Wednesday of this week in the Community Center Relics and Rods Hall. Havasu Stitchers and Quilt Show, November 5th and 6th. A Gem and Mineral Show, November 13th and 14th. The Western Welcome Holiday Boutique, November 19th and 20th. Havasu Art Guild's Holiday Shop, November 27th and 28th. A few events coming up in celebration of the 50th anniversary. So under the bridge, there will be a London Bridge Golden Anniversary dedication on Thursday, October 28th. A Matt Ferris concert, October 30th. Havasu Memorial Walkway Pioneers dedication ceremony on October 31st. And the Boy Scout and Sea Scout pancake breakfast on October 31st. Couple events happening in the parks. Walk Away from Drugs event on October 27th in the lot on McCullough and Quarrio. Street League Skateboarding Championship on October 29th and 30th at the skate park. And a Move-In for Memory walk at Rotary Park on November 13th. And if I may, I would like to really thank the Parks and Recreation staff for all their hard work this last month with all the events in town and the big success that they have been. It takes all of them to really put together these events, from our admin staff of scheduling, preparing the spaces, setting up and tearing down the events. So I just want to say thank you to all of them for everything that they do. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. I'd like to thank him too. As we were talking prior to the meeting, is the events in town's been busy, and it seems like more and more events are coming. So I know it requires a lot of the Parks and Rec staff to take care of all that. So I'd like to thank them and appreciate all their hard work. And with that, does anybody have any questions? No?
I have a couple.
One is about the shortages and pay, and how much of that is in your hands as the director versus the advanced prepared budget versus city council. And I know with a lot of corporate culture and even with like the school district, we are breaking boundaries we haven't had to break before to encourage staff. And I wonder if you have any flexibility to do that, or if there's anything we can do to help you smooth that.
Sure. We are currently talking about different ways to recruit new individuals and as well as retain different individuals. And yeah, we're trying to think as creatively as possible, not just for the Parks and Recreation Department, but for the entire city. It was announced to us earlier last week. There's 50 open positions, which constitutes about 12% of our workforce. So it's definitely an ongoing, growing problem. So things we are definitely thinking outside the box and trying to be as creative as possible.
Okay. And then I would like to, I don't know if this is a motion or maybe you can guide me. Sort of third responders, I suppose we could call Parks and Rec staff, all of the other people in our communities through this past 2 years of turmoil, from the pandemic through all the supply chain issues and economic issues and staffing issues. There's been a lot of earned appreciation for the first responders. But every day through the pandemic, when I was at the parks, there were park staff doing maintenance and doing work. There were people like you coming to their jobs. And I would encourage maybe the mayor or city manager or certainly the city council to recognize that, as they have done with some other key departments and people, and maybe a Parks and Recreation staff day or some other official recommendation or recognition from the city of the work you've all done. And it is appreciated.
Thank you. I'll definitely pass that along.
Yes, go ahead.
I just had a question about, so in the past, the day before the annual pool maintenance occurred, there was a day for dogs to go swimming. Is that no longer a thing?
We're not draining the pool this year, so we will not be having a dog swim.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All those dogs are going to miss out.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go right ahead.
I just wanted to comment on the Boo Bash. I think the Boo Bash thing, that's definitely a pretty cool idea. Shout out to Director Keene. I saw the video on on YouTube. If anybody hasn't seen it, go to Lake Havasu YouTube. Orange is definitely the director's color for sure. But it definitely sounds like a cool thing. So kudos to that. And then I just want to echo everybody else's sentiments about your staff. Again, being somebody who's regularly all over the city, every day of these events, it was pretty crazy to see how much your guys were moving around and making stuff happen. So definitely kudos for sure.
All right. Anybody else have anything else they'd like to bring up or discuss? No? All right. Close out that and go on to public hearing, discussion of the Downtown Catalyst Project. Again, Mr. Keene.
Sure. So I just want to start with a little bit of history of this project, and then we'll kind of discuss where we're at and what are the next steps. So in 2015, the city entered into Frontier Communications America's Best Communities competition with approximately 350 other rural communities. During this competition, the community came together through several public meetings and Arizona Town Hall led discussions to create a revitalization plan known as Vision 2020. Several of you were in those meetings and discussions. The Vision 2020 plan created 5 pillars of change. Pillar one being economic development and job creation. Pillar 2, education and talent supply. Pillar 3, tourism and place development. Pillar 4, water. And Pillar 5, community engagement. In Pillar 1, the Downtown Catalyst Project was created as a way to help revitalize the downtown area and bring more people to Main Street, not just during special events, but as a place people would visit regularly. In 2017, the city purchased a piece of property in the downtown area on the corner of McCullough and Quarrio as a location for this Downtown Catalyst. With the Vision 2020 plan and 3 identified projects, the Nomadic, which is a co-work space, the Environmental Learning Center, and the Downtown Catalyst Plot project, to complete, the city won a second place prize and $2 million. $1 million was dedicated to the Downtown Catalyst project, and these are the funds being utilized for this project. On September 28th, City Council approved a professional services contract with Dig Studios to design and create construction documents for this space. Dig Studio will be reaching out to the Downtown Merchants Association, ASU, Partnerships for Economic Development, the Pillar 1 team, this board, and the general public for input on this project. Dig Studio is currently working on their schedule and surveying the property. This project will be a standing agenda item on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meetings for approximately the next year, to allow for input from this board as well as for public comment on the project and hear updates as well. With that, I'll take any questions or input on the project from any board members or public that you may have.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. King?
Mr. Chair. So first off, thank you, Councilmember Lynn. I watched the last council, or not the last one, but the meeting where this was discussed, and I appreciate you remembering this board. That was definitely helpful, so thank you. But with that being said, I guess, what course are you looking, or what course are you looking from this board? What are you just looking for ideas or thoughts? Or obviously there's a lot of more senior people that have been on this board that may have had some original thoughts. So I guess what's kind of the goal for us, and what are you looking for?
Sure. And as Dig works through this, obviously they're a professional firm that has designed projects like this in the past. So they'll be using some of their own ideas and thoughts, as well as digging into both some of the Pillar 1 project talk, as well as several meetings that the Partnership for Economic Development did have with the public as well. They'll look through those documents and we kind of come together with some general concepts of what that space would be. And then they'll present those and kind of seek feedback there. So that's where this board will come into play, with some of that feedback, as well as being an opportunity for the public to attend our meetings, give feedback. There's also some conversation of, in early December, having a bigger kind of get together. It might be at the community center in Relics and Rods Hall, where we invite the whole community. We'd love for the board members to be there then as well, and really kind of discuss kind of what the project thoughts are, and those ideas of what are the most needed priorities for the project within the constraints of budget. And this will be a phased project, so not everything will be built day one. But in the design work, you need to have those ideas in the back of your head, so you're not making sure you're building something where another in the future another amenity would be placed. So that forethought needs to be there, and just the general concept of what the whole property might look like.
Okay, so there's no, I guess, baseline idea of what there's one, or what, I guess, the prior board or what the city has wanted in the past. I mean, is it just open for?
I think again, as the group works through it, it's not just blank idea. What do you want to see there? There has been a lot of discussion, especially back into Pillar 1 and when the project was created, of what that space really needs to hold. I think we get a taste of that every first Friday, of what that event space might look like. But we also need a space that drives people every day that drives the ASU students over there and want to use as a gathering space, maybe have a cup of coffee, have that conversation. With Nomadic just going to be on the other side of the wash, what a great way to be able to get outside and, have some of those discussions and meetings. So including that into the daily aspects of the project. And that's what Dig is going to work on and have those discussions and then put pencil to the paper and really kind of draw out what that might look like.
I think that answered my question. I guess the only question I'd have is for Councilmember Lynn. Obviously, that seemed like there was a little bit of differing ideas from the council. Is there any direction that that you guys specifically want us to go other than?
I was just going to ask that question. Are they going to present to the board first or to the council first?
Yeah, same question.
They'll be presenting to the board. We won't go back to council necessarily until, approval of some construction type thing. So it would be more through the board and through special meetings.
Okay, that's what I personally, for me as a council member, that's what I'd like to see first. I want them to come and talk to the board. I think was what I was really trying to stress during the meeting was we have this board for a reason. I would have preferred them to come to the board first and ask them about the hiring of this consultant to see what the board's thoughts were on that. And so, but we're past that. So I just want this board to be really involved in it. I don't know, some of you were on there when we were working on the Sarah Park. I don't want to see that same thing happen again. I want discussions. I want to be all on the same page. And that's why I'd like the board to be heard first, and then the community, and then come back to the council. Because it's not the council's decision of what, at the ultimate it is, but the process is why we have a board, why we have the community to make that decision.
I guess that's kind of where it's at too, is like, if, Dig Studio is going to have some type of drawings prior to that so that we could look at them, public would have time to look at them and then have comment on them. That was my only thing.
I have one other question. Can you remind me on this consultant, are they addressing the bridge issue?
We will be discussing the bridge and its need. And with if there is the need there and the request, I think coming from the community, the board, of what phase that fits in the project as well.
And that bridge from the parking?
Yeah, the bridge would go across the wash,
Okay.
Be an easy connection from Nomadic in the parking lot. You can get to that lot from a lot of other directions. There is also a sidewalk on the east portion of that lot. Of the wash. So you can walk down and around. It's a few more steps, but there is some conversation of a bridge across that wash as well.
Perfect. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to call back to a year ago, I assume toilets will be a priority.
We are hearing that from a lot of people, yes.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Let's close it out then. Yeah, we're moving quick here. I feel like I'm missing something. I'm not sure. We might make it under 30 minutes for you. All right. Moving on to future discussion items. Anybody have anything they would like to add?
I'd like to, the next time we talk about the Sarah Park trails, could you also add in some information about how the new maps came to be, the new color codes, and mixed with the BLM maps that are still on some of the signposts, and of course, we have a significant number of trails that are unmapped or just numbered, some of them with local names like Beer Bottle, for example. And I'd like to know how that all comes about, and is there any coordination of that, or are there different groups providing? I know that the new maps have an app, which I've used. It's quite good, but you have to buy it eventually. But and then there's the old map still up, and they don't agree on certain things. So I'm just curious about how all that comes about. So when you get to that, it's no rush. But I'd like to know more about how we coordinate those trails, not just now, but in the future.
And you're right. There's a couple of apps out there that do have them on there, and they're pretty close. So, anybody else? Go right ahead.
I know it's already on the list, I'm sure, but just we're only a few months away from teen break, and I just really want to make sure there's opportunity even for our youth representative and just opportunity for input on that. And also, if there's any discussion we can have as a board to talk about ways to support the after-school program, and because I know that's still being offered at a limited capacity, and it's just such a huge need here for our residents. So if there's anything that comes up that we can discuss and get some support for, I would hope we could do that. I don't know if anyone would want to back up those two ideas, but those are mine.
All right. Keep going.
Sorry, I just wanted to back up the after school program. I know that's a really big issue. Even my mom is an administrator. It's been a struggle making accommodations for families that do need the after school. So I think that's another thing to consider when coming up with new topics for discussion.
Right. And I guess mine was the MPO, which I didn't see, so I figured we didn't have anything.
The MPO has a new director, so I'm actually trying to get him here and discuss where they're at with that study and what the next process is.
Perfect. All right. Get on that. All right. So future meetings, Sherry.
Future meeting dates, November 22nd, and then also December 27th.
22nd.
I'm sorry, what was November?
22nd.
The 27th December. Yeah, I don't know how the board feels about the December meeting, since it's on the 27th. Is anybody in favor of just not doing that one?
Is it a possibility to reschedule it, or I know I won't be here, so.
I don't think I'll be here either, actually.
I'm not so sure about rescheduling, but sorry, the first thought in my head is we will hopefully, as I stated a little bit earlier, have a meeting type get together a little bit earlier in December to talk about the Downtown Catalyst project with Dig Studio. So that could kind of serve as our December meeting. Even if we needed to make it an official meeting, we could do that as well at that time and then break into that discussion.
Yeah, I don't want to miss out on that portion. So yeah, if we're planning earlier in December, then for that, then we can make that work.
Just remember, we have our retreat in January, so
Yes.
I want to make sure there's at least some discussion going into like the Downtown Catalyst part to hear from the board so that I can report, or we can report at the retreat.
Okay. And what was the date on the retreat?
We don't know yet.
We have not set a date for the retreat yet.
Okay, we just got to keep that in mind then with that December meeting.
I would not be here on the 27th either.
Okay. So right now, do you want to just put it on hold and then until we find out?
Yeah, we'll announce it at our November meeting.
Okay, perfect. All right. With that, a motion to adjourn.
Sure. Motion to adjourn.
And if we can get a second.
Second.
All right, with that, that is the conclusion of the October 25th meeting. Thank you.